Welcome to the Enlightenment Academy, where the journey of discovering your inner magic begins. In a world filled with endless possibilities, we invite you to explore the depths of your being and unlock the mysteries of your true potential. Through insightful teachings, transformative practices, and enlightening conversations, we empower you to access the brilliance that resides within you. Join us as we embark on a path of self-discovery, empowerment, and spiritual awakening. Are you ready to tap into the infinite wellspring of magic within you? Here is your host, Venus Castleberg.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Nice to have you all. Look at all those people that showed up. Hi. How did I get so lucky? I am super fired up to be here with some of my favorite people on the entire planet. True story. And I have some wonderful questions to ask each and every one of you. But I first wanted to just acknowledge you and thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for trusting me and being on an adventure of a lifetime with me in so many different ways. And I absolutely love having you on this live stream with me today. I'm like looking at all your beautiful faces. There we go. So today is a special live stream, and I chose to do this today because I really wanted to just talk to some of the people who have actually taken some of my programs and to interview them and find out, well, what's different in their lives. I don't get a chance to ask these questions very often, so it's fun for me to come on and ask some questions and just see. I'm always surprised at what people say too. So let's see where we will go. So some of you have been in a program I call Psychic University. And so for those of you who have been in Psychic University, what has been your experience during the program? Yep, and just pop in, share whatever you want to share.
I've been really intrigued about how many possibilities there are as far as the types of connections and communications with different entities and beings, and how we can open ourselves to perceive them, and the different ways that each one of us have different ways of perceiving. So it's been really fun to discover what opens up inside of me, and how walking through life I experience perceiving information. So thank you for that. That was really cool.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Amara.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Who else? What has your experience been? Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I would probably say the fact that I didn't realize I had any ability at all. Truthfully, it's crazy. I was just showing up as, support. I was like, yeah, I think this sounds like a great class, and I have no idea what I'm going to get out of it. But just knowing that, I mean, it's been interesting that when I actually drop walls, barriers, call it what you will, and just get down to it. I think that probably everyone has some sort of psychic mediumship, some sort of abilities that maybe, I know for me, I'll just call it dormant, or told that, maybe I think I was in my head, or I was, somehow, it was wrong for me to even think about stuff like this. And then now to be able to sit and come to a class where it's talked about openly, where I don't feel like I'm the, I'll just use the word, I'm the only weirdo. I get to be weirdo with all the other ones. Yeah. Weirdos unite. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But that truthfully has been the biggest thing for me, not thinking that there was any ability and then realizing I'm like just normal things that go on in my life, how much magic there really is in everyday life. So
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay. And so how has Psychic University impacted your life so far? Anyone can go. Just
I know I can definitely attest to how it has affected me personally, coming back into a spiritual, magical place in my life, whereas I studied this a long time ago. And I know that all of the energies and things are around me. I just don't know how many and what they are. So it's nice learning about what they are, what they do, and how they contribute to me, and how I need to contribute to them. It's over the years, I didn't realize I needed to acknowledge them and thank them. It's just like they've always been there, but I've never said thank you for them being there for me. And that's made a big difference because they like that. Now, I realize that they really do enjoy that when I do acknowledge them, and I see more and they come by more. I've also realized that this has helped me in my just day-to-day life and trauma journey, because it's brought me out and let me talk about traumas that I have not dealt with and have buried and avoided many, many years. And I've been in therapy the last 5 years because I was in a car accident in 2016, which was like the last straw mentally. And it broke me and the floodgates opened. And this has brought me to be able to open myself. And I talk to y'all more than I do my therapist. So she's like, she thanks y'all for that. So you're bringing me out that I'm able to now talk about things and be more open. So Psychic University has helped open me up, whereas I had closed all of that off and been avoiding it and had just those closed walls in my personal life as well. So it's helped in that area as well to open and drop those walls and barriers and to become more open and aware of how it helps me in other areas of my life as well. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. Oh, you are so welcome, honey. My pleasure. Anybody else want to share how has Psychic University impacted your life so far?
I can share.
Okay.
I'm actually at the beginning with exploring this side of life or my life. And sometimes I feel like I'm in kindergarten. And I'm getting more awareness about the coincidences are, because I thought there are a lot of coincidences, and I thought maybe that I was really like receptive and smart and good at recognizing patterns. But I now acknowledge more and more each day that I know things, that I'm aware of people that think of me, and they then send me messages minutes after I was thinking about them. And yeah, things that you can't explain with the abilities of the brain, let's say, like the usual abilities. And I happened to, yeah, I'm aware of more possibilities now. I have more ease with certain areas of my life. I'm even looking at the business side from a different perspective. Like when I create my business, I closed the business that I used to have, and now I'm building a new one with the intention of it being more conscious and choosing from what I know. And I'm gaining more and more. I trust more my abilities. I'm gaining confidence with all of this. So yeah, it's really fun for me, and I'm really grateful for it.
Oh,
So thank
that's awesome. Thank you, Christina. Okay, so what specific changes or transformations have you noticed in yourself, whether you've been in a program with me or a session or just a conversation or hung out with me?
I can go, Venus. And I can attest that just being in your bubble, in your presence, does wonders. So I really wasn't the stranger to the spiritual world because I had a Ouija board when I was 10. So I consider myself a pro. But but seriously, but I have given up when I was trying to guess answers to a calculus test while in college, and the Ouija board lied. So I was like, "That's it. I'm never dealing with spirits again. That's complete BS." But I'm a manifestation coach, so I do believe in energies, and I'm very respectful of the exchange on the vibrational level. So, what I have realized is actually spirits are as eager to communicate with us as we are to communicate with them. And they don't have a Ouija board. And so they're looking for any opportunity, any entry to any one of us who would be willing to open our mind or lower our walls and let them get into contact with us. Because at the end of this all, we are all part of one greater universe. So my experience was actually very fascinating because Venus and I were at a business event, out of all places, and hung out for a weekend. Now, I knew what she was doing, but it was a jam-packed event, and I wasn't even asking her anything about her abilities or how she communicates with spirits or anything of that sort. And it just happened to be right before the Mother's Day. So when we all got home, I went to see my grandmother. I was very fortunate to still have her around. And we had a lovely Mother's Day tea party and talked about our ancestors. Now, here's the funny part. I am a manifestation coach, and I specifically work with business owners to help them break through income plateau. So I deal with money story all the time. And I don't know why. Well, now I do know why. I started asking my grandmother about just our ancestors and history and all things related to just family. And she was telling me a lot of things I didn't know around money beliefs and money story and scarcity and that whole mindset that, you work hard for your money and, we're East European. So it's all about just no matter how hard you try, there is going to be a war sooner or later and it's going to take it all away. And as we're having this conversation, I got this like physical heavy feeling. It's almost like I'm getting it now when it was almost hard to breathe. And I was like, what is happening? Like, why am I not feeling amazing? Like, do I feel so sad for all my ancestors? And then I realized it was them. Like, literally, the spirits of my ancestors have come in because, God bless them, they got me confused with a professional because I was hanging out with Venus the entire weekend. So they now assumed that they could channel through me, and they all showed up at once, like all 70,000 of them. So I got home, I called Venus, and I was like, what is happening? And she's like, oh, oops, I forgot to give you the disclaimer. Just hanging out with me opens up a lot of doors and channels. So they all showed up thinking that you were ready to receive. And I'm like, all 70,000 of them? So she actually coached and taught me how to balance it and, kind of allow for the distance between us. But the point to this funny story is that we all have some type of ability, because at the end of the day, it is a communication skill. So you communicate verbally, you communicate through the body language, and you communicate through waves, through frequencies. Like, we do that. And I think the difference is whether you're open to hear. So that's not very different from like if you're open to hear your spouse. And many times I'm not open to hear him. And that's the same with spirits. So I think, Venus, what your program does, it teaches intentional communication skills and more advanced communication skills.
Wow, thank you for saying that. I've never heard it put quite that way, but yes, we're in relationship with beings with bodies, and we're in relationship with beings without bodies. And so I think that's a great way of putting it. Like, how do we communicate? How do we connect? And in some instances, how do we disconnect, right? How do we disconnect from maybe our ancestral belief systems that aren't serving us anymore? So that's a wonderful story. Thank you, Lena, for sharing that. Anyone else? What specific changes or transformations have you noticed in yourself?
I'll speak to that. Yeah. It's interesting because throughout your program, I was able to clear a lot of the blocks that stopped me from perceiving them. So having more and more of that cleared out made such a tremendous difference. And now I'm walking through moment by moment, perceiving, asking my guides, shall I go here or shall I go here? And I follow what's lighter. And having that as a foundation, walking into your gifts, oh, what a difference. It has just made a tremendous difference. I'm now perceiving fairies and sprites and stuff when they're around, and just all kinds of interesting creatures. I don't necessarily see them, but I know they're there. And when a spirit wants to talk to me, I have tools for that. So it's really fascinating. So thank you for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It opens all the channels, right? So it really is this like, okay, so we do have ghosts. We do have beings without bodies that are wandering around and don't realize they don't have bodies anymore. But we also have earth keepers and guardian angels and spirit guides and fairies, and there is such a thing as a gnome, and there is such a thing as a leprechaun. Like, they all exist, right? So like, there's entities, there's extraterrestrials, like, so like there's all these different beings that don't have our normal kind of physical bodies. And how do we connect with them? How do we commune with them? How do we clear them? How do we interact with them as beings, just as if they were like house guests that came over and were like, hey, we're hanging out with you for dinner. Well, how would you talk to them, and how would you interact with them if they came into your house? So beautifully said, Amara. That's great. So can any of you share a memorable moment or a breakthrough you had during the session or the class, the program, one of the programs? And I'm not sure who has like some motor going in the background, but maybe mute yourself if you have something in the background going off.
No. Okay, it's not that. It wasn't that. Was it that? No, it wasn't.
It's the spirits, Venus.
It's the spirits. The entities are in.
They're phoning the loan in the heaven.
Yeah, they will interfere with technology, that's for sure. So let's just all ask them all to back up and let us have our conversation here. That's cool.
No. Yeah, I thought it might be my computer, because I tried to do it on my computer and it was not going to let me get on my computer. So I had my phone real handy but I still have my computer up in the background, so I thought it might be that, but I closed that and it's not that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So anyway, can you share a memorable moment or breakthrough you had during the program or a session?
Well, memorable moments I've had are actually because I have a tendency, I feel things. So when people are able to tell me names and have actual people come visit them, and when we go into the breakout rooms, and they like my dad, when you had my dad, and my stepdad came and visited me, and I can't remember who told me about that. But it's just amazing to me because I have the feeling of the energies around them, and when they can bring in these names and stuff, it's like, wow, it just amazes me, that kind of gift, because I feel it, but I don't always know, and I forget to ask questions. I'm just feeling it. So I don't know. And I'm like, okay, I'm just feeling this wonderful feeling, and I'm just going along, and I forget to ask questions, and it's like, oh, this is about you, not me, right? I'm like, oh no, this is not good. So I need to learn to ask questions more, but I've really enjoyed the other person's gift so much. And when they tell me these amazing things, it's just, I get this sense of awe. It's just, I don't know if that's what you're asking for, but to me, that's amazing to me.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's a gift to me.
That's great. And it's go ahead, Lena. Yeah.
I'm chuckling because one of my growing abilities is to actually apply filters when I get this sense of knowing. Because I forget who said, oh, I feel like I'm in kindergarten. I feel like I'm in pre-K at this point. So I would get the feeling of knowing around a person, and I would be just so fascinated with it. I would just like verbal vomit it on the person, and they'd be like completely overwhelmed. And so there were a couple of situations where I would like relay information. It was good information and helpful, and they were very thankful, but completely overwhelmed. And so that's where that point of intentional communications and communication skill comes in, even with spirits and those without, physical bodies. And that's what we as teachers, like, you have to ask for permission, and you have to kind of manage and control your flow, because as helpful as you're trying to be, it can be too much for people. So definitely experience in learning.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, Lena. And what she meant by that, if some of you are curious what she was talking about, is psychic development, it's not normal. Like Joseph said, like, weird ones unite. Absolutely. We are weird ones united. And there's a lot of people. I have this in the Facebook group that we have. It's got 2,300 people in it. And I often hear people go, who can I share this with? How can I share this with people? And most of the time I'll tell them not to. Don't share it with people who cannot support you or don't have your back. Because you don't, and especially when you're in the beginning of your developing your skills, you don't need somebody who's going to like naysay you or judge you or make you like doubt yourself. You need the people like this group of people right here who are like, yay, that's awesome. Way to go. So happy you had that experience, right? Because then you're encouraged to grow it more. And as you start to open yourself, there is this tendency to want to tell everyone everything and everything that you're aware of and being like, I can see your whole future. And you like want to tell people because you're excited. And I think that that's awesome that you're excited but definitely want to ask their permission. And I did that for years. It's just like, hey, a spirit just walked into the room. Are you open to receiving messages or talking to them? And I only had one person in all those years tell me no. So asking permission, but it just kind of prepares them too. Like, instead of like you just giving them the download of what you're aware of, and then they're like sitting there with PTSD, not knowing what just happened to them. So just ask, ask them if it's okay if you give them some information that you're getting. And most of the time they'll be like, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to hear it. And they'll be able to receive more when you are willing to ask permission. So, and then when it comes to sharing your gifts with people, ask yourself if this person can receive it. And if they can't, keep it quiet. So, and we've all done it. I've always been that super excited about the next thing to share. And it took me many, many years to learn that it was actually better to just ask for permission than to try to beg for forgiveness. So, cool. Thank you. Right. Yep. So how would you say the program has helped you in your personal or professional growth?
Well, like in personal, like I said earlier, the personal growth for me definitely has helped bring me out and dealing with a lot of like the trauma that has held me back. Now that I'm able to openly get some of it out and openly deal with it, because I'm starting to deal with it and able to talk about it. And I can now go back and let the energy flow by me without me containing it and getting stuck in it. Because I know I can do that now.
Right.
Before, all it was a a whirlwind of chaos that would just hover over me and I would get stuck in. So I didn't want to deal with that. And I would just not deal with that whirlwind. I would bury that whirlwind, make it go away. So that has helped me internally, personally, and then it also helps me grow spiritually because I'm able to open up and be open to the possibilities and drop my walls and be more aware and grow a whole lot, because I don't have those restrictions on me that were put there and I believe them, and they don't really exist. They just exist because I bought them. I bought into that belief that I had to have that restriction, and it was there and I had to deal with it, and I had to have this battle in my brain and work it all out, cry it out, figure it out. And I don't. It's done. It's gone. So that has helped me a lot, and with a lot of the trauma. So it's helped a lot of growth for me personally and spiritually. And I definitely can say that. And it's helped a lot also because on the spiritual path, you realize that there are so many other entities out there that are waiting to help you, waiting to embrace you, waiting to contribute to your life in ways that are so unexpected to you. And all you have to do is be aware and ask. So that makes it so nice. So that's another good thing.
Thank you. Yes. And watching your transformation, Kim, has been amazing. And I'm just honored to be on this journey with you. So thank you for that. Well, we're just going to take a quick 2-minute break. If you can all hang on, we'll have some more questions on the other side. I just want to thank you for all your contributions, and we'll be right back, everyone. Stay tuned.
OMTimesTV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimesTV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Hello, hello. Welcome forward, everyone. Yes, we had some people who needed to drop off. I totally get that. Thank you for those of you who can stick around. And Christina, you had something you were going to share?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I wanted to say hi to our colleague from the Academy, Bob, because he's in the comments and he shared his experience. He has a lot more experience than kindergarten people. But speaking for myself, I get to be more empowered, and I had the clarity and the courage to take action and change a few things in my life now that I'm more aware of things that are happening and that I'm perceiving. And maybe for some people it's not something huge, but I was so aware of what was happening in the apartment next to mine that I couldn't sleep. And my life was not very fun anymore. And I was waking up with thoughts that were pretty dark. And I was kind of aware they are not mine. Like, it was strange to have them. But at the same time, I was having them upon my waking up in the morning. So I got this clarity about perceiving the people in the apartment next to me, and I moved some furniture and I moved my bed, and I got some plants to help me clear the space, and stuff like this, which is not maybe out of the movies or spectacular, but for me, small changes like this are huge. And the fact that I allow myself to acknowledge, I perceive other people's universes and make the changes to adjust my reality, to make it more comfortable for myself, and to intentionally choose what works for me and what does not work for me. And being aware, it's one thing, and buying their reality, it's a totally different thing to buy it as mine. So for me, there's a huge change in the, I don't know, I feel a bit more brave than I used to, and I feel more confident in my abilities and in what I perceive. And as Joseph said, it's a very nice safe space where you can share without being afraid of being judged. And weird people get together and we tell it as we perceive it. Yeah, so for me, this was a huge change for allowing myself to being more of myself, and to also using my abilities in my favor, like to do something for me. So this is for me a huge step, even if for others maybe it's just kindergarten, like learning to walk.
I think we're all learning to walk. So, yeah. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Christina. And what did Bob say?
Yeah, let me see, because he sent us a bunch of messages. He says, Psychic University has really expanded my knowledge. Moreover, the practice exercises and meditations. I've tripled my abilities in just a couple of months. He goes on to say, I have seen many more spirits due to the training, and my whole approach to this stuff has changed, starting to feel like I'm understanding things. For the first time, I was able to see spirit guides, not all of them yet. I learned to ask my guide and an elemental spirits I'm friend with to show me stuff, and I saw a lot. Yeah. So, and he says hi back. Hi, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. That's awesome. We're super grateful for you. And yeah, when I first met Bob, he was like, I want to be able to see more. I want to be able. And so it's been really wonderful seeing his transformation and all the growth. But I mean, all of you have really just taken the tools and applied them to your lives in the way that it worked for you, and changed things. It's just so fun to watch, like the changes and the transformations. So what tools or techniques did you find most valuable so far? You have to unmute yourself.
I can go real quick.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Fantastic. So probably the greatest, the tool that is, I mean, it's funny, it's kind of tied into your last three questions, is it's increased on my business side, is I had no idea that I had, I mean, I know I'd heard you talk about spirit guides before, and I'd never really seen any of them, and I didn't know who they were. And I mean, I could tell they were there at times, you know. I didn't know if I was talking to God or who I was talking to, but it was always it was like different. There's different individuals, and it was just, it's been super cool. Just even the last few days, being able to actually recognize them and see them, and know that, I guess part of it is that I'm not alone in what I'm creating in life. I mean, I can be alone. But being alone is lonely, I guess. And then it's funny because I also grew up in the era of the original Poltergeist movie. So like, you know, so part of that was like, oh, I'm afraid of poltergeists, and they're, Carrie Ann, walk into the light, stuff like that, where I was always like, okay, I was at the effect of, I didn't even want to go there because I didn't want to open myself up to anything that was more powerful than me. And then by you saying, hey, nothing or no one is more powerful than you, and realizing that, I was the powerful one. So it was just really, it's been a really cool journey seeing those changes.
It's been awesome to see you open up. Joseph used to have this thing, I think he's okay if I share, but like anytime we talk about entities or something, he like started to fall asleep.
Yep. Yep. I would. It'd be like, I could be wide awake, caffeinated out of my mind, and next thing I know, I'm like, oh, sorry. Go ahead. And what were you saying? What were we talking about? Entities. Oh yeah, whatever.
Spirits, entities, yeah. So if that's you, it's not uncommon, right? So this is like, it's kind of like, oh, I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to hear this or to deal with this, so I'm gonna go to sleep now. And it's all good. But it has been nice to see Joseph start to open up more. and connect more and like be quiet. And I'd be like, what you thinking? And he says, oh, I'm just talking to my team. I'm like, oh, that's new. How does it get better than that? So very cool. Awesome. Anyone else want to share a tool or technique that they found the most valuable? Go ahead, Kim. Yeah. Yeah, you're still muted. Yeah.
Okay. The pad ad hoc.
Cool. Awesome. Yep. So yes, that tool is an access consciousness tool, and it's the clearing statement. We've used it on this live stream often, and it's one of the best magic eraser tools that I have found out there. And you can find out more at theclearingstatement.com if you want to check it out. So, awesome.
But you taught me that, so it's
right. Yeah. Go ahead, Christina. Yep.
For me, taking down my walls and barriers, it's really valuable, and I do it more and more often. I remember to do it. I'm really proud of myself, as I used to be in a box.
Yeah.
And now, even when I'm going to the mall or someplace that feels uncomfortable, or a person that I would have in the past put up all my walls and barriers to that person and don't want to look at that, or even fall asleep in some situations. Now I automatically go like, it's uncomfortable. What's this? Let's drop the walls and barriers and see what this is actually. So yeah, this is a very valuable tool for me. And also the guided meditations that we do. It is your contribution, and it's the space you hold and your voice also. And it's also that my brain, like when I try to meditate by myself, I'm not really good at it yet. But if the meditation is guided, it's it's a whole new world. And also Bob shared his favorite tools. So now I'm apparently his spokesperson in the show. So I'm going to learn to read his message as well. So he says, the same tool, learn to lower my barriers. He also learned to ask spirits questions, how to pass spirits onto the other side. Then all the info on different types of spirits, then they are all great tools. Yeah, I agree with that. I also am very grateful for the information on all the types of beings that can be out there, because I was movie educated before, mostly. So yeah, I'm much less afraid than I used to, being of different entities that we don't see.
Right.
Or I don't see.
And awesome. Thank you for saying that, because that's actually, and Joseph bringing up that as well. Like what you see in the movies is not actually the way it really is. So if nothing else, some of the programs that I offer do give you insight into what kind of spirits are you dealing with, what kind of beings are out there, and how might actually manifest or actualize in your life. And it's going to be different for everyone. Like Kim was saying, she doesn't hear them or see them, but she can feel them, right? She senses them. She knows who's there. And it just shows up different. So it also just that acknowledgement of like how the gifts show up for you and how you can tap into them is going to be unique for you, because you're unique and you have your own life experience. But just any of the places where you thought that movies was what created something to fear in the spirit realm, can we destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, whole nine shorts, boys, po, bads, and beyonds. Yep. And that's the clearing statement we were just talking about. So, cool. And how has your relationship with yourself and others evolved?
It has made me keenly aware of so much more. It's almost like I can sense where that person's at emotionally. It's almost so uncanny because you can't really describe how that is. It's just like you're picking up information either out of their head or out of their being and their body. And I can intuit much more easily what would be beneficial in conversations and things like that. Since I've been doing shows and readings, it's been fascinating that every single reading is different and the information comes so clearly now than it used to, because I got myself out of the way, which has been very, very helpful. And you doing lots of different tools throughout the program has really helped to gain that clarity. So I'm really grateful for that.
Wonderful. Yay. How does it get better? Anyone else want to share? How has your relationship with yourself or others evolved? Anybody like themselves a little bit more than they did when they started? That was Joseph raising his hand. He just hit the wrong. Like, that's me. Okay, cool. And then what would you say to somebody considering joining this program?
Oh, definitely yes.
It'd be the best step in growth, personal growth, as well as all kinds of other growth that you could ever do.
Yes.
I mean, it takes you to places that you didn't know you could go. So I'm on board with that and highly encourage it.
Yeah, definitely. If people are thinking about it and having that open mind, it's amazing that it integrates, kind of a natural and a supernatural world. Like I said, the experience with my therapy, that I couldn't even talk to my therapist, that I became more open with this experience, and it helped me with that side of my life. So anybody who may be dealing with avoidance issues, because my therapist said I am the queen of avoidance. Very good. And it really does help you open up when you are capable of being able to drop your walls and barriers, and you open up in all parts of your life, not just one area. And yes, you are able to bring those walls and barriers back up, but when you start to do it just a minute here or 5 minutes here, then you start doing it all in different times and different places, and you get used to it, and you realize how much it's helpful to you instead of hindering you and actually making you protective. You're more aware, and it brings that awareness and understanding of your surroundings. So now you're both protected in your world that actually exists all around you. And I mean the world in corporate, basically, is what I want to say. The world physically, the world of reality, the world of what exists that you can't see, all of it becomes aware of right then and there when you start taking those little pieces of awareness without the walls and barriers. And it becomes expansive and grows as you become expansive and grow. So it helps you in a sense that you grow. And that's what we want to accomplish in therapy as well as a human being in general. So it's a great program.
Yeah, thank you. And so how has the program helped you tap into your innate abilities?
Well, for me, for example, it helped me acknowledge that that some things, like my dreams, to give an example, I had these dreams all of my life, like you are in a VR and you are traveling to paintings, something like this. And there were different painters every night. And I realized that was not just a dream, that's more than that. So it didn't open the gift for me, but it helped me to acknowledge that was a gift. And it's not something that everybody does or has.
Right.
Maybe more people do, but I acknowledged for myself that it's something that I'm able to do, like to see different realities, different universes.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool. How does it get better?
How does it get better? Yeah, and also I wanted to add that we are having a lot of fun. Like, these may seem like very serious topics, and they are, like you acquire skills and develop your knowing, but we also laugh a lot together, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Well, I think too, and thank you for saying that, Christina, because I think that speaks true to when you find a series of like-minded individuals, a group of like-minded individuals where it's safe to talk about anything and you're not being judged, and you're like, we're talking about magic, we're talking about, what you're perceiving, and we're doing weird things together, that it's like, oh, I can just relax because I can be me, and I can just be with a bunch of other people who are also different, but that don't have points of view about me or don't judge me. So thank you all of you for being that for each other in this program, as well as just being that in the world. It's just such a gift to be somebody who doesn't judge other people for what their experiences are, what they're going through. Awesome. And so Christina shared a little bit about this already, but what aspects of the program have you guys enjoyed the most?
Laughing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we can actually have conversations, and I'll just use the word, they're serious. Whenever I think of serious, I don't think of these kind of conversations, but they're heartfelt, like you said, non-judgmental, just a space. The space is held to be able to have, real and vulnerable conversations. Like, hey, this is what's going on for me. This is what's happened for me in the past, whether it's joyful or traumatic. It's been something that, place that people been able to share and find empathy, not sympathy. Not because there's a difference. There's a lot of people, I think, that they've bought into the trauma and drama and the story of life and how everything is. It's like watching a Telemundo. Dios mío. Everything's very dramatic. And the cool thing is it the way you've taught and the way that you hold the classes.
you know, it's uplifting and holding people. It's holding that space for folks without buying into a story or creating drama. Like, we don't have to create drama to live. This is life. Life can be dramatic enough. We don't need any freaking help.
True that. Well, thank you. Thank you all so very much. I am just so incredibly grateful for your time, your presence, and just who you are in the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. For all of those of you who have been watching today, if something we said piqued an interest and you're interested in more information, we will drop a link to book an initial consultation, and you can hop on a call with me. I'd love to talk to you about the possibilities. And if not, I look forward to seeing you some other time. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next show next week. Bye.